such a joy to chat with you. I have probably told you 17 times one of my highlights of 2023. I'm walking around KetoCon. I just got in. It's day one. I feel like a new kid at school. You know what I mean? Like I'm holding my backpack and like walking around. I feel kind of shy and I'm like looking around to see if I notice anybody. And I'm walking inside the building and you're walking parallel to me outside of the building. And I go, is that Sally? Well, it's Sally. I know Sally, it's Sally. That's Sally Norton. I got so excited. And you walked in the building and you were getting like your registration check in. I was like, should I say anything? Should I not? And I just gently tapped you on the shoulder and I was like, hey, Sally, I don't know if you remember. And you go, Casey, I give you like the biggest hug. It was like the coolest moment. I felt like the coolest kid ever.
You are the coolest kid ever. And it's so fun to be with you. I'm looking forward to next time.
Me too. It was really amazing to be able to spend some time with you at that conference. You and I watched a few of the talks. I got to watch your presentation, which was, boy, really amazing. And you had a somewhat difficult task of getting in front of a bunch of people who have gone low carbohydrate. KetoCon in Austin is kind of a wide range. I noticed that there was a lot of people who are experts in ketogenic and low carbohydrate diets, and there were a lot of consumers as well, and some people who are just getting started. And to stand on stage and tell these people that, you know what, all of these amazing sacred cow foods like your spinach and your almonds and the dark chocolate you've transitioned onto to go low carb actually might not be that great for you. What was that like?
You know, I credit the organizers because between the lines, I saw permission to go ahead and say it like it is. And so I felt like I had somehow been given permission to say that if you're going to stay plant-centric in your keto diet, you are relying on foods that are impossibly high in a toxic chemical that's going to cause trouble. They deserve that. And I was so grateful that I felt like there was room to say that there. Yeah.
Yeah. Robin really made it an open thing that anybody could talk about whatever. Even Dr. Ken Berry kind of came on stage and said, like, all the people next door that are selling all these low carbohydrate food products are probably not that great for you. I don't know if I would go exactly that far, but I understand the point that, like, these things that are, kind of helping people for a little while are actually causing a lot of harm. And I think that's why your message is so important. You haven't been on this show since your book has launched, Toxic Superfoods. This was an extremely highly anticipated book in the low carbohydrate community. The cover is amazing. The content is incredible. I thought I knew a lot about oxalate before I listened to the book for the first time. I learned all kinds of stuff. What has it been like since you've launched that book? Ironically, 1 year ago today from the launch of this episode. Pretty cool.
Yeah, here we are at the 1 year anniversary. We've had about 50,000 books sell. And what I'm hearing from my followers is that they literally buy it in triplicate and give one to their sister and their doctor, and then they buy it again in triplicate and give it to this person and that person. So there's a lot of evangelizing going on because it really is changing lives. And the book gives people some grounding and some sense of reality about it because we live in a world that is so unaware of the oxalate problem and that these foods that we all assume are okay, even the basic peanut butter and the sweet potatoes that you give your baby when they go on to solid foods, that is actually a problem. And that is not a message that people are receptive to. So having a solid book to support them means so much to people because it lasts. There's an explanation for these dogging problems with their mood and their pain and their sleep and their skin and their digestion. And people are actually even starting to recognize me. I was in Iowa City recently and some random person walked into the store. I was about to give a presentation to a group and she didn't know I was going to be there, but she recognized me and she gave this fantastic testimonial about how much the book changed her life and stopped this endless search for answers about her digestive problems. She had been to all these doctors and the book was the answer. So that's all I wanted to achieve with the book. When I realized what I'd done to myself, I thought, oh my gosh, how is anyone going to figure out that it's their sweet potato habit or their
Yeah.
occasional weekly Swiss chard? Like you don't know. And without someone to give you a little tip, you'll be lost in the dark. And I wanted to make it possible if there was anyone else like me out there who was eating the best they could and feeling lousy, they deserve this information. And luckily, people are picking it up and sharing it. So oh so grateful that humanity wants to help itself. Like people want to help their
Yeah.
friends and family. They really want to invite their friends and family to wake up to the oxalate thing because now that they've realized how much it's affected their health, they're now concerned about their nieces and nephews and their mothers and their brothers and sisters. And they're wondering, well, will they ever listen to me even with this book? And maybe the book is not enough for them to help people they love.
Yeah, it's a tough message to accept for sure. And if somebody's wondering whether you really went through it, your own health story, I definitely recommend the listener go back and listen to episodes 208 and 310, where you talk about the suffering that you went through. Oh my goodness, you really went through the ringer with some of this stuff. It's just all of these foods are placed on a pedestal and they're the best things that you could have, which is why I absolutely love the title, Toxic Superfoods. It's something that people can relate to, but also make them question, like, wait, superfoods, I know all these superfoods. Like, these are all the things I know are healthy for me. And I guess I have to speak to my own experience. And, when I started going low carbohydrate, I did so for kind of performance reasons. I noticed that it really helped my cycling. I noticed that it was helping me and some of my clients when I would do tests with a metabolic cart. Their metabolism seemed to improve. They used to shift their metabolism towards fat burning more than they were carbohydrate burning, which was great. I definitely noticed some benefits when I went keto, and my brain was working a little bit better. But I really noticed in April of 2019 when I transitioned onto carnivore and I cut last remaining vegetables out of my diet. The thing that surprised me the most was not that I lost a few more pounds of fat and my energy was really really good, but I just like it was 2 weeks in almost that like there was this like calmness that I'd never really experienced besides just like fleeting moments here and there, like maybe a sunset or a special moment or something. This was like there was nothing going on. There was just like birds and a tree and everything was fine. And all the stress that I had been worried about and all the spinning around and things that were never going to happen to me just didn't really matter. And that feeling has by and large stayed with me through eliminating some of these foods. And I was continuing to eat the vegetables that were high oxalate foods. And I really wonder whether that really was part of me ditching my anxiety.
That has been the most gratifying and surprising feedback I've had with teaching this. How many people were suffering from anxiety and that lack of calmness. And calmness is one of those words I hear a lot. Like, I can experience calm now and never could before. I personally didn't notice a lot of agitation and anxiety, but I really struggled with like just meditation, like trying to settle the brain down. It just made me exhausted. Like my brain was not working well. And it was definitely the same kind of genre of like, and this non-calmness can be happening in a way that doesn't necessarily feel emotional, because the other way that it was ruining my brain was I couldn't sleep. My brain was waking up 29 times an hour. And I was so exhausted, I didn't even know that was happening. So it's the same kind of neuroagitation because it's a nerve toxin. It's a activator of immune cells. It turns on the mast cells and creates inflammation, which causes these brain problems that can be anxiety, panic attacks, this sort of flat affect or apathy that you get where you just like have to force yourself to care about all your to-do list with things that you've chosen to live your life with, and even your basic things you want in life aren't exciting to you. That's all neuroinflammation, and oxalate can be a trigger directly to the nerves, and because it forms these crystals, it turns on the immune system over and over and over again, and you get this mess from that inflammatory reaction. And then it also destabilizes connective tissues, which adds to pain syndromes, which adds to this constant cycle of inflammation and nerve toxicity, And the thing that gets it going can be this oxalate poisoning from sweet potatoes and spinach and beets, almonds and dark chocolate.